The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is currently recruiting ad hoc staff for the Edo off-cycle governorship election scheduled to hold on Saturday, September 21, 2024. The electoral body has also engaged the services of civil society organizations as voters educators, influencers, and advocates for free, fair, credible, and peaceful electoral processes. 17 candidates representing various political parties are battling to take over power from the incumbent governor, Godwin Obaseki, of the People's Democratic Party, who will complete his second and final tenure in office in the next few months. This is the focus of the first segment of Daily Politics tonight, which will dwell on INEC's preparations ahead of the election, as being monitored by election observers. I'm Hamza Idris, and thank you for joining us. We have in the studio Macdonald Ekemezie. Is the Programs of Communication Manager, Center for Transparency Advocacy. Welcome to the program, Macdonald.
Thank you very much.
We're happy having you in the studio.
Thank you.
But before the conversation on Edo, here are some tidbits. President Bola Tinubu and governors elected on the platform of the All Progressives Congress held a closed-door meeting at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, on Thursday. The meeting was not unconnected with the efforts by the government to stop the planned nationwide protest. The president also met with key traditional rulers and clerics. Earlier, during a separate meeting, the Progressive Governors Forum said they don't know the reason for the planned nationwide protest in the country. Their chairman and Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodinma, therefore invited all organizers of the protest for discussion to identify their grievances and proffer solutions to the problems. And elsewhere, the Defense Headquarters has warned those mobilizing for a nationwide protest that while it is their right to protest, it will not condone anarchy. Daily Trust reports that some persons are mobilizing for a nationwide protest slated from August 1 to 10, 2024. Tagged End Bad Governance, organizers of the protest have lamented widespread hunger and inflation in the country. Addressing a press conference in Abuja on Thursday, Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, said the military won't allow anarchy to befall Nigeria. Have a look.
There are plans by unscrupulous elements to hijack this protest and make sure that it turns violent. When it turns violent, I want to tell you what we have seen as will likely happen. Indeed, we need to count our blessings. Some are blessed, but they don't know they are blessed. Based on status, if you have a smartphone, if you have a car, you have a home, you have a business, you'll be labeled and attacked. For those who have shops, markets, for some who are living in other parts of the country will be attacked because they are living in another part of the country. People will be attacked for belonging to opposite political party. Believe me, when this happens, it is nothing but a state of anarchy, lawlessness. So that is why I say that while the protesters have a right by the Constitution to protest, they do not have a right to galvanize for the unleashing of terror.
That was Defense Spokesperson Edward Buba. Macdonald, you've seen our tidbits there. The president first. Let's start from there. Can we say maybe the president is racing against time, or it's okay? These meetings, it's like it has taken over governance.
Well, for now, I thought the presidents and those in government shouldn't have allowed even things to come up to this stage where governors will have to leave their states and converge in Abuja, or even where traditional rulers have to leave their kingdoms and converge in Abuja just to so that they go back and tell their citizens not to protest. Truly, there is a lot of hunger in the country. There is a lot of dissatisfaction, and people they have the right to protest. But just like Major General Edward just said, when you protest, you don't use it to unleash mayhem on other innocent citizens. So I think at this time, what the president needs to do is not actually calling governors or calling traditional rulers to come to Abuja. What he should do is that some of those demands, some of those legitimate demands, is to implement them.
He has dispatched 740 trucks of rice.
Party loyalists will eventually hijack those trucks. I mean, if what we want, if they want to give rice to citizens, why don't you either open up the borders or import rice, put them in the market, people can afford to buy, because when you give, even if it's 100 trucks of rice, politicians will always hijack it.
And some will keep it for election season. Maybe.
Yes, just like what happened during the last, I think there was palliatives that was given through the National Assembly members. Some of them didn't distribute it. Then you also find out that some went to rebrand it as if it was their personal donations.
You said that it wasn't really necessary to have invited, especially the traditional rulers, to Abuja. Are you talking about the logistics involved in maybe bringing them to Abuja, camping them, talking to them, and then taking them back?
Yes, that's right. If you look at the logistics that is involved, in fact, if you put it together, you can actually buy some CNG buses for some states. Because most of those traditional rulers will maybe eventually they will be lodged at Transcorp. At how much?
And coming with your people.
Of course.
I cannot come alone.
He cannot come alone. He will come with all the bodyguards, all the people, all the hangers on. Same thing with the governors. You can imagine moving the governors, all the protocol officers who are coming with him and all that. So it's for me. Then even the vehicles, a lot of private jets must have been deployed within this period and all that. So for me,
which wouldn't have been necessary.
Yes,
but are you worried? Hope Ozodima, who said that they don't even know the demands of the people, that those behind the protest should come out and discuss. Is this an escapist approach? Or maybe the media misquoted him? But since morning, this has been trending, that we don't know what they want. While the hashtag of the protest is, end bad governance.
Okay, in one way he's right, in one way he's not right.
Okay.
When we are in school, if we are protesting, we knew usually it's the SUG that governs. So you know who is the president of the SUG. So even if there is going to be a negotiation, you start negotiating with the SUG president and the entire team. Now, this one is more like a faceless group of people asking for demonstrations and all that. But the Governor Hope Uzodimma, His Excellency Hope Uzodimma, cannot also come out to say, I don't know what they are talking about, or that he doesn't know what the demands are. He should know. He's a sitting governor. He was a senator for years. Now he's doing his second tenure as a governor of Imo State. He should know. Let me use the local parlance within Owerri, which if he has a tape, he will understand where I'm going to.
Okay.
He knows where is Ekonowa. It's a big market in Owerri. Can he take a stroll from Government House? He doesn't need a taxi. He can just stroll from Government House to Ekonowa. Let him go and price a bag of rice.
Or gari.
Or beans. Or the common ogu that people use to prepare soup in Imo State. Then I'm sure if he does that, he will really now understand the demands.
Because if you notice the bashing on social media, many are saying these governors, they are not really fair. Is it because the state has taken over the luggage on their head, because everything is supplied to them. So maybe that could be the reason why he said, we don't know why they are protesting.
Yeah. If you see a convoy of a governor, especially within the state, even when they come to Abuja from the airport to their lodges or whatever, if you see the convoy, now if I'm buying fuel or petrol for 695 or 700 or 660, depending on the place we are buying it from, in just one car, and this is somebody who has 8 to 10, and they are filled. Some of them have, their tank is about 120, like those big 8-cylinder cars, 120 liters, and they line up and fill it. Is it coming from their pocket? If it comes from his pocket, he will know the pains.
Okay, finally on this, before we move to Edo, is I'm beginning to get agitated also, because this evening we had the DSS saying they know the people behind this protest and they are engaging them using non-kinetic approach. Now here we have a governor saying one thing. Here we have key security agency saying another one. Here we have the military saying another one. And here we have the president also talking to the traditional rulers. Can we say there is cohesion among the elite to confront this? Because they are talking from both sides of their mouth.
No, you see, when we talk of transparency, transparency in governance, even transparency in approach, even transparency in looking at the grievances of the citizens. Every governor receives security briefs. So the governor cannot tell me that if the DSS have come out to say we know the people.
Yes, and we're even engaging them. Not that we identify them, we're about to engage them, but we're engaging them using non-kinetic approach.
That means they have a face. So the military cannot claim they do not know them. So if you know them, engage them. If the president knows them, the president does not need to call the governors and the traditional rulers. Take them to the villa.
And solve the problem.
And solve the problem.
All right, thank you very much, Macdonald, on the current build-up to the protest. But viewers, we now have a report on plans for the Edo governorship election, which will set the phase for our conversation on the election.
Mahmood said that the Commission can conduct local government elections if the responsibility to do so falls on it.
The other challenge is close to the election, particularly when campaigns start. Power of incumbency is used to the advantage or disadvantage of parties and candidates. And this is a clear violation of the provision of the Electoral Act that prohibits the use of power of incumbency to the advantage or disadvantage of any political party or candidate.
INEC boss also expressed fresh fears over the upcoming off-cycle elections in Edo and Ondo states. He particularly noted that apart from a strain on state facilities, there is also the issue of governors using power of incumbency to the detriment of other opposition parties and their candidates. Speaking specifically on Edo, Mahmood noted that despite the challenge of flooding, there is also the issue of insecurity.
There is another argument that leave the state electoral commissions to conduct local government elections in the spirit of federalism, but find a way of ensuring that they improve on the conduct of local government elections. Right now, the law has not been amended. The same constitution that creates INEC also creates the state independent electoral commissions. So it is up to the National Assembly to amend the law to transfer that responsibility to INEC. If that is done, the question is, can INEC cope? Because we have also been saying that we should be unbundled.
Mahmood appealed to lawmakers to speedily pass the Electoral Offenders Bill under the current Assembly to empower the Commission with the capacity and resources to effect arrests, thoroughly investigate electoral offences and mitigate electoral malpractices.
Yes, Macdonald, that was one of the meetings by the INEC on forthcoming elections, but precisely, in Edo, which is our subject of conversation today. As Center for Transparency Advocacy, I know you engage INEC on so many fronts to see that things work fine. There are fears that the election will not even hold, going by the cloud up there.
Well, Edo State have had a history of people being afraid of governorship elections not holding. I remember there was a particular one, the one that preceded this current governor when he came in for his first time, when even an IG of police unilaterally even cancelled the election and told people that the election will not hold when INEC was on ground preparing for elections. So no matter how it is, politicians will be what they are. Politicians will always create problems and issues. Politicians will always want to take advantage and create a kind of atmosphere of uncertainty just to their own advantage. I don't see that election not holding. It will hold. They should go ahead and campaign for those. I mean, the citizens will want to, whosoever they want to give their votes to, they should give their votes to. But irrespective of the spate of violence, is not as worse as what we have even seen in Nigerian elections. So I do not think...
You're optimistic.
Yeah, sure, I am.
But during your engagements with INEC, because subsequently we will invite INEC officials, do you think it has made some progress going by the level of criticisms, especially after the last elections, they held?
You see, no matter, INEC has made a lot of improvements. I mean, irrespective of what some other people think about it. If you check the last presidential election, people forgot that the last 2023 general election, people forgot that powerful incumbents lost elections in their states. That there were governors who could not come to the Senate. They lost elections. There are people who were literally unknown won elections. So, but coming to the presidential election, for the first time in the history of Nigeria, we have opposition polling 15-point-something million votes, whereas the man who won the election had just 8 million votes. It has never happened. That means opposition polled nearly 100%, 90-something% of votes. It has never happened before. You see, the person winning the election will score 20-something million, and the other person is scoring 3 million. But see, opposition put together. So it's a leap. And if you also check the introduction of technology, it has also helped. Sometimes people will tell you, it was only 20% or 30% that came out to vote. What it means is that the technology deployed can now dictate, it's actually the right people that are now voting, and not before where you use your different terms and use palm kernel. People, they were using palm kernel to thumbprint. Now that does not work again because it will be rejected. So there is some improvements, really, irrespective of criticism.
And as I said, your agency, Center for Transparency and Advocacy, do you think the people in Edo are ready for the election, going by the way the politicians are actually beating drums of war?
Yes, we already have some imprints in Edo State. We're also getting reports from our observers, those who we will eventually train, and those who we've trained in the past, so who are giving us reports. The citizens are ready.
Okay.
Citizens are ready. That's just like what I said before. Politicians will always want to take advantage and create atmosphere of uncertainty to their own advantage by either hyping violence or even instigating violence or even committing violence by themselves to intimidate citizens. But I'm sure it's the right of every registered citizen who is qualified to vote in Edo State to vote. So they cannot stop them from voting, irrespective of the shenanigans and whatever.
And intimidation.
Intimidation by politicians from whichever party.
Then what about the issue of voter registration, co-opting those who clock, voting age and all that. Have you seen some progress, on the side of INEC?
Yes, the CVR, that is the continuous voter registration.
Yes.
Unlike before, people, there's no registration until after 4 years. So you might be 18 years, then you wait until you're about 22 years before you register. But I think there should also be more. What INEC should do is let there be a deliberate effort by even going to secondary schools, giving some kind of incentives that once one of the prerequisites, even if you are writing for JAMB or that, as people are using NIN, as you have to use NIN to register for JAMB.
Yes.
So why don't INEC also have that kind of technology that once people are leaving secondary school, or people are clocking 18 years, is an incentive, just as you have your NIN, automatically you register and you have your card, instead of waiting for 3-4 years. So the continuous voter education should be improved more, where citizens who clock 18 years are encouraged, automatically. I mean, again, that comes to the issue of
you think it will help reducing cost of election?
Exactly.
And all that.
Yes, it will help reducing cost of election. It will encourage citizens, especially younger citizens, to know their responsibilities as voters and as citizens, and it will encourage them to register. So it becomes less encumbered, and it becomes easier for citizens. It also becomes easier to track registered electorates within any ward.
The INEC chairman, in the video we showed, he raised concern over power of incumbency, and the problem in Edo. The outgoing governor will do whatever it takes, right, to
have a successor.
Yes, have a successor. Everyone would like to have a worthy successor. Do you think it will be fine? I mean, in terms of the approach, because from the words we've started hearing from the governor, there is, a lot of worry.
Well, just as you rightly said, most leaders would want to have an anointed successor. But the power of incumbency is not peculiar to Edo State alone. It's even peculiar even at the national level of politics, where perhaps a sitting president would want to anoint the person coming. The same thing with sitting governors would want to anoint. But what that turns into is that it turns both parties into desperation. The sitting governor is desperate. Even the other person who is coming in to take over is desperate. Even when that person who is coming to take over, if he succeeds, he will condemn the sitting governor who is using the power of incumbency. When he now comes in, assuming he succeeds in making sure that the anointed candidate of the governor does not win, he comes in, he also becomes a despot. He does the same thing. So Nigerian politicians' characters are almost the same.
But why? Why is it? Is it that they don't learn from history?
They don't learn, or they learn, or no, they don't learn, but they know the truth.
They ignore.
They ignore it and always try to circumvent every sane strategy to make the elections work.
Is there a relationship between this desperation for the incumbents to have their preferred successors and the heating up of the polity during election?
Yes, it's a very dangerous trend, where incumbents would want, by all means, either to cover their tracks, because if an incumbent governor has done so well and is anointing somebody, I'm sure the citizens will readily queue up behind you. But if you have not done so well and you are bringing somebody who might even not do well, it becomes a challenge to even the citizens. So it is not. It's a very dangerous trend, within the Nigerian politics, where the power of incumbency, you go. Sometimes they will not allow you even to go and hold your campaign in public spaces. They will close it, or they will bring one flimsy excuse and knock you off. Sometimes they go and destroy your billboard, or sometimes they tell you to erect one billboard, you pay 3 million naira. I saw that happened in Imo State, where they did other political parties before they could mount their own billboard. So if I'm going to spend 3 million naira to mount one billboard, how many will I spend in the entire of Edo State, or Imo State, or Lagos State, or the FCT? I will not do it, but the incumbents will mount their own.
Okay, finally, what role do you think security operatives will play? And what are you doing to actually bring all these contenders, INEC, other civil society organizations, the citizens, and security operatives?
I think what all of us, we have a responsibility as citizens of Nigeria, including security agencies, because if there is bad governance, they also suffer it. There should be synergy between security agencies who should operate within the dictates of the law. INEC should also operate within the dictates of the law, applying transparency and fairness. Whereas civil society organizations should also report exactly what they see when they go to the field. They should not be influenced either by their funders or by personal biases. They should be honest, they should be transparent, and they should tell Nigerians how it goes.
All right, thank you very much, Macdonald Ekemezie, the Program Communication Manager at Center for Transparency Advocacy, for coming to the program. We're happy to have you ahead of the election.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, yes. And then viewers, in the second half of the program, after the break, we will dissect issues polarizing the political clouds in Edo State ahead of the polls with Timothy Osadolo, who is the National Vice Youth Leader of the PDP. He will join us via Zoom from Benin City. We'll now take a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you are just joining, you are watching Daily Politics on Trust TV. Do well to follow the conversation across our social platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and watch us live on YouTube. Major contenders in the Edo State off-cycle governorship election are the candidates of the PDP, Asu Yogodalo, Monde Ekpebolo of the All Progressive Congress, and Labour Party's Olumide Apata, a former president of the Nigeria Bar Association. As campaigns rallies gather momentum, the atmosphere is aggressively getting polarized. For instance, in a political turn-up event, the embattled deputy governor, Philip Shaibu, has defected to the All Progressive Congress. Shaibu left the PDP for the APC after the Court of Appeal upheld the nomination of Yogodalo as the flag bearer of the PDP. Already, PDP's Obaseki and the APC in the state are pointing accusing fingers at each other over allegations of violence, with the governor warning that failure to conduct a free, fair, and credible election in Edo State will plunge the entire country into crisis. How can authorities ensure the conduct of a free, fair, credible, and peaceful election? As I said earlier, we have Timothy Osadolo, National Vice Youth Leader of the PDP, who joins us virtually from Edo State. Thank you for joining, Mr. Timothy.
Thank you for having me on the program.
Okay, the latest story we had this evening is that the PDP in Edo State and the State House of Assembly have taken the case of Philip Shaibu to court again in Abuja. What do you have to say on this?
Well, the Edo State Assembly actually is in court because Philip Shaibu got a judgment in one of the high courts in Abuja on the grounds that he was not only removed. So the House Assembly has gone to court, the appellate court, to appeal that judgment and to state correctly before the court that all relevant constitutional procedures was exhausted and followed in the removal of Comrade Philip Shaibu as the dead deputy governor of Edo State. So it is not news that the Edo State House of Assembly is in court, but it is a follow-up court process to the one instituted by Comrade Philip Shaibu.
Yes.
So Philip Shaibu was going to court. We are only like respondents in the appellate court to contest the judgment he purportedly got at the High Court.
Yes. But are you really satisfied with all the allegations leveled against him, like misconduct, perjury, and disclosure of government secrets? Is it not just because he wanted to take over from his principal? As a youth leader, don't you think that the system wasn't really fair to Shaibu?
The truth is that Shaibu really knows the oath of office is sworn to.
Yes. Hello? Yes. Can you hear me?
It's an official document. And I am convinced that having rough shot afoul of the oath of office, I am convinced that he, more than anyone else, knows the implication of not following through with the oath of office he has sworn to. Again, when he was doing all of those things for political gains, I am convinced abundantly that he knew that there will be an end point. So he can
Yes. Hello?
not be crying over the cake he has eaten.
All right. We'll take a short break and fix the network connectivity. Viewers, don't go away. We'll be back shortly.
Welcome to Trust TV, your gateway to the captivating essence of Nigerian history, culture, and society.
And this is where the hydroelectric power dam is supposed to be constructed.
Delve into the depths of Nigeria's past with our insightful documentaries unraveling the intricacies of ancient civilizations and colonial influences that have shaped the nation's identity. Immerse yourself in the vibrant Nigerian traditions and customs as we showcase the diverse cultural landscape.
The early history of human existence can be traced to the heart of northern Nigeria. Here, archaeologists found evidence of a group of people who sculpted clay and developed tools to smelt iron.
From lively festivals to time-honored rituals, Trust TV encapsulates the spirit of Nigeria's dynamic heritage. Experience an authentic portrayal of contemporary Nigerian culture that is both engaging and enriching.
With over 250 ethnicities, over 500 languages, and a youthful population, Nigeria has a truly diverse demographic advantage.
Don't miss out on Trust TV's amazing and impactful storytelling. Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. Viewers, we apologize for the problem with network connectivity. And Timothy, I hope you can hear me now. Hello?
I can hear you very well.
Very good, Timothy. Now that Justice Omotosho has extended the hearing to September 24, do you think the PDP in Edo will now concentrate on the campaigns?
For me, Justice Omotosho can have adjusted the election, the hearing to September.
Yes, September 24.
Any year, any time, any day he deems fit. But it's good to have that distraction out of the way, because for those that are not so learned and so conversant with the workings of the law, it will create some level of doubts and tensions amongst them. But for those who know better, we know that these are just legal semantics that at the end of the day would enrich jurisprudence and our history books. But to say that all of this would affect the chances and the fortunes of the PDP in Edo, I don't see that happening.
Okay, but Shaibu has, a lot of followers, and he has moved to APC to galvanize forces. Isn't it not a serious threat to your party, the APC?
Can you give that question, please?
I said, with the movement of Phil Shaibu to APC, he must have moved together with, his followers. Don't you see this as a serious threat to the existence of the PDP, especially in relation to the forthcoming election?
He must have moved what?
He has defected. Philip Shaibu has defected, right? Hello? Hello?
I can hear you. You said with the movement of Philip Shaibu into the APC, what?
Exactly. He has moved alongside his followers. Is this not a serious setback for your party, the PDP?
My brother, the truth is this.
Okay.
Yes, for the optics, it would seem as if Philip Shaibu is capable of so many things, or capable of upsetting the chance of the victory of the PDP. But the truth is this: let us ask ourselves, who really is Philip Shaibu in the politics of Edo? Is Philip Shaibu who could not win his polling unit and his ward in his own re-election as deputy governor in 2020? Since he had that fallout with his godfather, Philip Shaibu has not been able to win one single election in the state of Edo. He lost his re-election as deputy governor. He lost the presidential elections, the National Assembly elections, and even the House Assembly election in these two constituencies that makes up his area. You see, I don't want to say the man is a noisemaker, but he's making noise. And he's making noise about his weight and his capabilities, which are overhyped and unnecessarily so.
Okay. This evening, of course, we stumbled on a story from Edo where the governor said that it wasn't true that he said if something happens to the Edo election, the whole Nigeria will actually be embroiled in crisis. But there was a tape. Have you watched that tape where the governor was making that threat that he actually recanted this evening?
The governor was quoted out of context.
Okay.
I was at that venue that day. It was on Sunday, where we were doing the inauguration of the Edo State Youth Campaign Council, where I myself happened to be Deputy Director General of the Campaign Council in Edo. Governor said, what happened on Thursday must never be allowed to happen again anywhere in Nigeria. If it continues, such a brazen act of arson continues, Nigeria will go.
And what is that thing that happened on Thursday, for the benefit of our viewers? Hello? Hello? Mr. Timothy, can you hear me? Welcome back. Once again, we want to extend our sincere apologies over the network problem. It is heavily raining here in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. Timothy, I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Exactly. All right. I ask you, what really happened on Thursday when the governor made statements alluding that Nigeria will boil in the event something happened in Edo?
Yes, that is the question Nigeria should be asking. What happened that made the governor make such a speech? You see, the Commissioner of Police Edo is a live witness to all what happened. He was at the airport to tell Philip Shaibu that you just got a judgment, and the Edo State House of Assembly has appealed that state government, that state judgment. Automatically, it means that there is a still prosecution of your judgment. Please, you cannot parade yourself as the deputy governor of Edo until a declarative judgment is made. Philip Shaibu, in his high-handedness, mobilized all his supporters, armed to the cheeks. There are videos of it. If you don't have, I will send to this studio graciously, so you can see who were those that were armed and were being escorted by armed policemen. You see, the APC talks and armed policemen. In fact, the armed policemen, the purported death of one of the policemen that died, and the vulcanizer that died. One of the talks, when he was shooting sporadically in the air, in his bid to use one hand to shoot into the air, his gun fell from his hand, killed the policeman, killed the vulcanizer seated by the roadside there, instantly to death. Nobody's talking about that. Nobody's in jail over that. The man is shot is lying down in UBTH, Federal Teaching Hospital, UBTH meaning here. Nobody has gone to arrest him. The man that shot the gun, nobody has arrested him. Philip Shaibu that brought the thugs that were armed and as seen in all the videos, nobody has arrested him or brought him in. Philip Shaibu is an ordinary citizen of Nigeria. He lacks any form of immunity whatsoever.
But that is where Timothy, that is where the big question comes from. This is a citizen, ordinary citizen of Nigeria. Where did he got the guts to mobilize, youths with other security operatives to storm? That is
where we were calling on President Tinubu to behave truly like Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and not the Commander-in-Chief of the APC. If he wants to be president, let him be president of all Nigerians, on whose mandate he purposely rules and presides over the affairs of Nigeria. He should not be selective in application of the law. He should be bold enough to give directive if he's a lieutenant that he has appointed office and not seen to be bold enough.
But don't you think that even the security operatives are divided in Edo, because this is a governor. You have a sitting governor who controls these apparatuses in the state.
Listen, my brother.
Yes.
There's a Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria who appoints the Chief of Army Staff, the Chief of all and the heads of all security agencies in this country, including the Inspector General of Police, who all commissioners of police in its assistant and including the FCT is answerable to. There's no commissioner of police that is answerable to any governor in this country. They report first to the IGP, who in turn returns his report to the Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. In the chain of command in the constitution of the country, there's nowhere it says you take instructions from the governor. So,
all right.
If the president is going to be very, very, very upstanding and up to date in modern governance or in his office, he wants to do what's right by the people of Nigeria and the oath of office he took, he should be, first and foremost, call the IGP and Commissioner of Police to ask them why are they why did what happened in the Benin happen, and who is made to account for it.
Okay.
Because you see what happened in Benin that day.
Yes.
God forbid.
It
happens in a state like Kano.
Okay.
We know how explosive that thing would be.
All right.
We have a governor here who behaves like a Westerner, who believes in civility, and I think that is what people are taking advantage of.
All right.
The man is civil and the man plays by the book, and because they have a president and service chiefs who believes in power mongering.
All right, because of the fact that we don't have time, and I have this very important question you must answer in 30 seconds. Don't you see Apata as a threat, the Labour Party candidate? Because some people believe he's a dark horse in this.
Apata himself, if you ask him, he knows he's not a threat in this election. Apata is on the ballot because he wants to please himself and his friends as a former gubernatorial aspirant. He's not in this election to win. He's just there to win the status of the former gubernatorial candidate.
And finally, how are you trying to bring dissenting voices within the PDP? Because even during the primaries, not all are with Ighodalo, yes.
Prior to now, we had dissenting voice in the PDP.
All right.
But now you can see that they have all left. Philip has gone back to his paymasters in the APC. Danobi has also been shown the way out of the party at the highest level of the party. So the noisemakers and the distractors of the PDP have been kissed goodbye. And we don't miss them in any form, not in their polling unit, not in their ward, and certainly not in local government or even the state as PDP does not need them, we don't miss them, and we'll win without them convincingly. If elections were to be held in their family homes, PDP will still win, and they know that is for a fact.
All right, Timothy, we thank you very much for joining us from Benin, despite the erratic connectivity. We hope to have you some other time.
Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you for having me.
All right, and viewers, yes, that was Timothy Isadolo, National Vice Youth Leader of the PDP, who joins us virtually from Edo State. And again, we apologize for the poor network connectivity. And that is a wrap on today's package of the program, we hope you found the conversation engaging and informative. And be sure to join Daily Politics, airing every weekday, and our special package on Friday, during which we open the telephone line for you to comment on national issues. Tomorrow will be your day. Keep a date with us.